Bruno, why is this watch underrated?
It's underrated because every single person who likes high horology watchmaking focuses on AP, Patek, really high-end Cartier, but they often kind of disregard one of the most interesting watch brands on earth.
I am a little bit torn on this video. I want to show everyone how incredible this watch is and what a silly steal of a deal it is on the pre-owned market at the moment, because this Breguet depreciates like a rock. In fact, it's ridiculous. It means that you can get a full precious metal modern high horology piece for 15 or sometimes a little under 15. It regularly sells for less than half of full retail, which is $32,400. So even at 30 grand, I think this is a heck of a model. But the fact that nice examples can be bought for so much less, it creates a true high horology value proposition. You just don't see propositions this good, this compelling very often. So it is unique in more ways than one. And to those that think that watches like this show, something negative toward the brand of Breguet, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. Like Bruno said in the opening, too many higher end collectors are hyper focused on value retention. They're focused in on Patek Philippe and Audemars Piguet and Vacheron Constantin. They're focused in on the Holy Trinity, and they don't, or they rarely consider one of the most interesting brands on earth and one of the oldest too, Breguet. So I don't buy into the negativity. I don't buy into the hate, but I also don't buy into the hype of other Holy Trinity brands. Now, here is my own conflict. Selfishly, I would have bought one of these for a deal, for a steal, prior to telling the world on YouTube what a great price, what a great proposition it currently is. Not that I think I have a big influence on the wider watch market, but if 1% of the people who watch this video start shopping for pre-owned deals, especially in the dial variation that I like, it makes it just a little harder for me to score a deal on one. I might have a few others joining me as I, look for deals on the pre-owned market. They become my competition, and that would cause me to probably pay a little bit more for one when I'm ready financially, because sellers would adjust the price per the slightly increased demand. Again, it is a ridiculous first world problem for sure, but us watch nuts, we are a little bit dramatic. So searching for deals is something that I consider when I'm looking into buying a watch, because I'm a watch lover at heart who buys watches for myself. And I'm not just some generic presenter on YouTube who talks watches with the same enthusiasm as I would have about other collectibles. No, I'm a watch collector. I'm a watch lover. So I want that elusive find. When quality and price meet in the perfect place for a consumer, I'm searching for that unicorn, and I think I found one here with this. Now, the part about the design that pulls me in the most is just how both sides of the case are fascinating to view. The subdial where the time is displayed takes a secondary position of prominence, just in my own opinion. And this subdial, is hand engraved on a rose engine. It's done the traditional way. It's slightly reflective. Note the clou de Paris texture as well as the multiple rows of coining. That ties into the case finish. There is a faint circular grain on the flat portions of the subdial. It's colored black for increased contrast, but I swear when the light hits it just right, you almost see a hint of purple on this dial. It's so interesting. There is silvered printing, including the Roman numerals, the minute dots, the brand name, and the watch serial number. That ties in well to the matte finished Breguet style handset and the needle power reserve indicator. Now the case is 40 millimeter, 18 karat rose gold. It has great finish work. It has coin edge sides, and that's even found between the lugs where most brands neglect the finish. This will have a signed crown and a very large open case back. On a 40 millimeter watch, this shows off the above average sized in-house movement to such a pleasing proportional degree. I just love to see that. Now, if we take a look at the open work movement, this is rose colored. It has a frosted finish. I think that looks so nice. And it is mixed with the mirror anglage. Ah, it's just so delightful to view. It complements the silver tone elements well, like the balance, the gear train, and the mainspring barrel. The movement contains 215 components, including 34 jewels. It has a non magnetic silicon hairspring with an Abraham Louis Breguet invented overcoil. So that's nice to see. It has 50 hours of power reserve and a parachute shock protection system that was the forerunner, the design forerunner to Inca Block and other modern shock protection systems. Notice how the size of the balance matches the largest part of the gear train on the opposite side of this open work movement slash dial. This helps strengthen the symmetry of the design. I think it is quite a strong layout visually, and the only true asymmetrical component is the power reserve indicator, and that complication is also displayed on the movement quote unquote side of the case, which is something that I have not noticed any other brand do. Now, the winding action is loud, it's pleasant, it's not gritty, it's not resistant in any way. It is exactly what you would want to see on a five-figured priced watch. Now, admittedly, I'm not a dress watch guy, but this is the only true dress piece design that I have massive enthusiasm for. I like other designs, including from Breguet and from other respected brands, but none quite to this degree. This is the one that I want to buy. And maybe it's because it's a little untraditional in the layout, right? It's an untraditional tradition, but I think it could work in more casual situations. At least it could pass as adequate in more casual situations. I'm not talking about shorts and a t-shirt, but certainly I don't think this is limited to dress shirts and sport coats only. Now, I adore the attention to detail. I adore the frosted components, the case coining, the overall warm but mechanically centric presence. I think this is an artful watch, no doubt, from an exciting brand. It is mine and other like-minded watch fans' gain that it is currently so undervalued on the used market. So I'll close this presentation with a couple thoughts from Bruno, one of my close personal friends and an owner of this masterpiece. Thank you for watching today. Subscribe if you haven't already. Why is this one so enjoyable in your collection?
So compared to anything else that I have, this just visually looks completely different. I wouldn't call it skeletonized, but it is exposed to some extent. It's the only watch that I have that has kind of an offset dial, which is an homage to some of their earliest pocket watches in the late 1700s. It's rose gold and it's a fully frosted movement, which is just delicious to look at. And I don't sell Breguet, so it's a whole new experience for me.
What, if anything, should Breguet do to improve this watch?
To improve this watch? Nothing to note, actually. I think this is almost as perfect as I can ask for.
And this is kind of your engagement watch?
It is my engagement watch. So when I started shopping for a ring for Brittany, I thought that, I deserve something as well. It's a special celebration for us, not just for her. So I started looking around at, a couple different watches in August of last year, and I ended up not coming across this, but I was thinking of a couple other things. And in October, maybe 2 weeks before I actually proposed, we were watching a movie at night, and I got a YouTube notification from Watchbox, and it was for this watch, and I popped it up and started looking at it. And typically when I'm looking at watches, I don't really get excited anymore. I get to see Patek, Rolex, everything else that's exciting that we sell at OC Tanner, and my heart started beating. And so I submitted an offer a little bit below what they were offering, and they called me in the morning and said, "Great, it's yours." And so I had it shipped to my house, and I couldn't have been any more thrilled to show this to Brittany post proposal.
That is so fantastic.
It was a fun day.
This one's interesting because normally the most, I guess you could say, interactive part of a watch is an open case back.
Totally.
But this one's different because you get the traditional dial that's scaled down, but then you get all of that goodness
Correct.
from the top view.
And it's almost perfectly symmetrical. There's a power reserve at around 10 o'clock, but otherwise you get to see the whole gear train. You get to see the 4th, 3rd, 2nd escape wheel, balance wheel all beating away, and it's beautiful to see the barrel shining right back at you in the center. And it's symmetrical without being boring.
I assume this is a keeper for you.
I think at least for the foreseeable future, yeah, I think Brittany would murder me if I sold this at this point.
Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you, Bruno. Appreciate it.
Of course.